So, guys, we back on a Sunday. This is Light and Hope, and not Springfield Story or Guiding Light. No, this time is California Clan, aka Santa Barbara, and he is Peter Flint, the famous killer at all. Hello, Steve,
The Carnation
the
Killer.
Ganassi killer. Yeah, yeah. How you doing? How the life works for you this time?
Life is great. I love being where I am right now, and my kids are all grown and on their own and doing very well. I'm very proud of them, and I live by the beach, can throw a rock and hit the ocean, and it's where I should be. They say you can take the boy off the beach, but you can't take the beach out of the boy. And I've lived by the water for many years, off and on, but always prefer being close to the water, especially in LA, because the temperature by the water is much cooler, especially in the summer. And other parts of Los Angeles can be stifling with the heat. And I'm
Mm.
really happy with where my life is right now. I've had to go through a bunch of old person surgeries and crap like that with a
Oh yeah.
metal shoulder, metal hip, and nonsense. And
Mm.
I mean, it's getting older is not for sissies. Let me say, it just is what it is. But I'm trying to do it as gracefully as I can.
And you looks great, by the way. And Peter is still with you. Yeah. Yeah, I look at you, you got you in the eyes, Peter, So
Right, right, yeah.
that's crazy.
Peter
Um,
Flint.
yeah, it's really crazy. Um,
It's hard to believe that was 40 years ago, you know.
I would say that 30 years anniversary a couple months ago. How
40
do you
year
feel? Yeah,
anniversary.
yeah, 40 years. Yeah, sorry.
40, I can't believe it's been that long. It seemed like, 4 or 5 years, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's for me too. So like yesterday, like 4 years ago, and that is so long time ago. It's been crazy. And sadly, Santa Barbara not for streaming, or something like that. That's so sad.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue with the streaming is. It possibly because of music rights and
Copyrights.
things. I don't know. I mean, like they say, the answer to most questions beginning with why is money. And I'm sure if you throw enough money toward the right people, they'll do it. But I mean, that's how Hollywood works.
Sadly, yes, yeah.
It's all about putting money in the right people's pockets, and that'll never change.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know the powers that be to do something like that, but it would be great to have it streaming because
Yeah,
I think the show at the time was somewhat ahead of most of the audiences in the 80s. And now it seems like the show is more pertinent to the current issues with family and things like that show addressed. But who knows? It'll probably stream someday. Just when the question is when.
the question is when, that's so right. Um, Before we talk Santa Barbara, was this wish for you to ever to be an actor, or have you another wish that you dream of?
Was what?
What is your actor? Was this your job? Was this you wanted to do an actor, or is another job?
Oh, well, I mean, I just did something a couple of months ago for a producer friend where I played Whitey Bulger in a
Oh,
show that's coming out. And I just did it for fun because it was a great role and I had a lot of fun with it. I stuck I think it's about a minute and a half video on my Facebook page from the rough cut. But people ask me when is it coming out? When is this? And I just tell them, actors are the last ones to know when something is going to premiere or show or whatever. So I don't have answers to that. But I like doing interesting roles. I'm not really in the marketing of that so much as I am writing now, and I've been writing for the past
ah,
several years, and
that's cool. That's cool.
written a lot of several screenplays, and one of which I've got some very talented people helping me. And we're in the pre-production phase right now, and I have three other scripts. But I like writing movies, not so much TV shows or series or things like that, because they're very much more labor intensive. I like to look at something in the film genre where start to end is an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I can establish the structure of a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I've been doing that, but I resurrected these screenplays during the pandemic because the whole town of Venice was pretty much closed down. And I mean, you couldn't even go on the boardwalk, you couldn't go on the beach. It was
Awful.
desolate.
It's
It
awful.
was
Yeah.
complete. So I had these screenplays that I'd written, started over 20 years ago.
Wow. 20 years
Um,
ago. Wow.
yeah, I worked on them for a while, but I did them mostly for fun. It's when my kids were much younger. I did it as kind of a pastime. And I had at the time a writing partner, and he passed away, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I continued on with a lot of them and rewrote them. And the pandemic came along, and I resurrected them. And then I mentor a couple of young writers, and one of the people that I help along read a couple of scripts and said, "Why don't you enter some competitions?" And I said, "Well, I'm so behind the times." I said, "Well, I don't want to print it and put the holes in it and put the brads in it, put it in a package and mail it to I mean, I was just like, for what? What's the purpose? I mean, some of these competitions get thousands of scripts. I just felt like it was not going to really bring much to fruition. But I took one, and she said, "You don't have to do that. All you have to do is upload it, click a few buttons, and send it
Few
off."
buttons.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took one and did that, and it won the competition to my surprise. And then I sent the other scripts off, and they all came back and did very well. So that's what I've been focusing on, that and my kids, and my place in Venice. I had years ago, I had several uh, properties kind of spread around California and different places, and I just didn't have the time to manage the real estate. I had a place up in San Francisco, and then one in Hermosa Beach, and it was just
Mhm.
it was too much to handle.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I decided to pare down and get rid of those properties, and then I kind of isolated myself in Venice more or less. And then the pandemic hit, and so I started writing, and that's what I've been focusing on. Of course, then we had the strike, the writer's strike, and then the actors' strike, and then the fires in Pacific Palisades, which are
yeah.
less than a mile and a half from me, and they really shut down this town in many ways.
Yeah.
And so the business of Hollywood has been kind of waning over the past few years,
Mm.
and everybody's had to just sort of stick it out. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is dealing with that and enjoying the beach life. And what can I say? I feel like I have a very complete life now. I've done a lot of the things that I wanted to do with my life, and gone in a lot of different directions. And I've sort of in the mode of celebrating diversity, and I think that's important for us to do in life,
Absolutely.
and not just isolate ourselves to one thing that we want to do when we're 20 years old, and say, well, I'm going to be a this or a that, or devote my life to this, and then spend the next 40, 50 years of our lives doing that one thing. I think, to me, that is somewhat of a wasted opportunity that life presents us,
Mm.
with the ability to be diverse and to go in a lot of different directions. So
Mm.
that's been kind of my calling from an early age. And I've always, sought to do that. I mean, I went into architecture to make a living at drawing and painting, because I was an artist, but I always got the impression from family and friends and other people that, oh, trying to be an artist, trying to just do your paintings and drawings, you'll never survive, never make any money. So I went into architecture as a way to make money, make a living doing art.
living. Yeah.
And I had a really good career as an architect, and I taught for 10, 12 years up in San Francisco. And then by fluke, got into the entertainment business and did that. And, I've been around the world, and I've had 3 amazing kids, great family.
Wow.
I think it's 5 marriages now, 5 good marriages.
5. Wow.
I'm kidding. I've only had 2. Anyway.
It's like a soap opera, 5 marriages.
It is, yeah. Well, life is a soap opera. I mean, nothing stranger than reality. I mean, some of the stuff that happens in life, if you wrote a script about it, no one would ever believe it.
Yeah.
So I have to say I'm probably in one of my most creative periods in my life. The question is, how much longer do you have?
That is the question.
Try to get stuff done quickly. And right now with this film I'm working on, I'm having to push everyone. I mean, the philosophy of build it and they will come does not work in Hollywood. You build it, they're not coming. You can do all the scripts and storyboards and pitch decks you want, but they're not coming to you. You have to put it out there. You have to push people. You have to go to them. That's the only way it works. And I get constant questions about how to promote scripts and how to get in the business or do this or that. And, it's one of the few businesses where there are no rules. I have to say that nepotism still runs rampant. And if you are related to someone or good friends with someone who has risen to a certain level, that's how it works. You get your work in front of them. Hopefully they can help you. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, maybe they don't want to. But the agents and managers and all those people who are the gatekeepers, if you take that traditional route of trying to get your script made or get noticed, I think that's the most difficult route that there is.
That's right.
And also the most expensive. I mean, I know actors who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in PR and promoting themselves and trying to get things to happen for themselves. And maybe it does for a while, and then maybe it's gone. And same is true with writers. Many writers that have had to spend an awful lot of money to try and get their work in front of the right people. And when someone can just be born into the right family and say, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, help me out with this script or this TV series I want to do, or, let me direct my first film for you. And they say, sure, son, daughter, we'll put you over here. I mean, it's a business that it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of degrees or you went to American Film Institute and came out as one of the top writers or top so-and-so. If there's not people to help you, then you can get lost in the shuffle. And at the same time, you can be a guy like, what's his name? I'm really bad with actor names, but Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio. He's never taken an acting lesson.
No, that's right.
He started when he was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And he did, I think, Who's Eating, What's the Problem, or something with Gilbert Grape. I think that was his first movie. I can't even remember the name of it.
Or Jim Carroll in the Street of New York.
Yeah, and he was
brilliant film.
Amazing actor, amazing actor. I mean, terrific actor. So I look at that and say, the cream will rise to the top sooner or later. Sooner or later, your work will get noticed if you keep at it. You have to be patient. There's no easy routes, and I taught a few acting classes when I just was on a couple of shows, and I taught mainly audition classes because at
Ah,
the time,
right.
you had to go in and audition for a casting director. Now, a lot of that you can do on your computer and
Yeah.
send it off, and you can do 20 takes if you want and select your best take. And you don't get that opportunity when you go and audition for a casting director. So I taught some audition courses, and it's amazing that actors like Harvey Keitel and other people like that. The story within the industry is these people were terrible at auditions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
They had to come back several times and really work on the piece and until they were comfortable with it. And that kind of luxury is now available to any actor trying to get themselves on camera, because we have our computers
Yeah.
and our cell phones.
Yeah.
And in the 80s, we didn't have that.
No.
So
No.
I would get a script the night before, sometimes at 8 or 9 at night, and they would say, your audition is tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have 15 pages to memorize,
Yeah.
And so you need to stop your life, put your family on hold. Whatever you had planned, you can't do it. You now have to put yourself in a closet,
Absolutely.
learn all of these lines, and figure out what you're going to wear to go in to see the casting director over at Universal. Sit there and wait up to an hour along with 20 other actors. Go in and hope that you do a good job. And
Absolutely.
they see enough in you to call you back. I mean, I've gone back for projects 5 times.
5 times. Oh,
Still not gotten them, for whatever reason. And a lot of those reasons can be your teeth are too long. Or,
yeah.
your hair is too light, or we need a guy with brown eyes, or whatever they can come up with, and a committee. You have a committee of people in front of you that you're auditioning for. And my philosophy with a committee is that when a committee tries to design a horse, they always come up with a camel.
Yeah.
That's true. You really need the director with the vision who knows what he wants. So the best auditions I have is when I could go in and work one-on-one with a director.
Yeah, that's true.
Director and the casting director.
Yeah.
And not have a committee of 5 or 6 people trying to figure out. And they're always typically basing their decisions on how much money can we get with this actor attached in financing. So, I mean, I remember reading for a role that Tony Danza ended up getting. Tony Danza's a well-known name. He's a great actor.
Who's the boss?
Taxi and all of that.
Who's the boss, by the way?
There with Tony Danza and some other people, and I'm going, they're never going to hire me. They get him. I auditioned with Goldie Hawn, for a film. Actually, Dolly Parton and her too. I auditioned with Dolly Parton for a film, and they auditioned myself, Liam Neeson, God, who else? Liam Neeson. There was another guy. I can't. Again, names escape me, but 3 or 4 well-known actors, and I knew that one of those guys was going to get it. But Absolutely. At least I was there for the audition, and having not been chosen for those, it teaches you a lot about how the business works. And so much of it is about the attachment to the project, and are we going to be able to get enough money to finance the film with so-and-so playing this role. James Woods, that's the guy. James Woods, Liam Neeson, myself, I can't remember who else, one other guy. But we all got screen tests over, I think it was at Paramount, and they had a full set. They had the director, they had the camera, they had a wardrobe, they had makeup, all for a screen test, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
But It's just how it goes in Hollywood. And I was always, I got a reputation as being difficult because I was always rewriting my lines. And that was the writer in me was saying, this dialogue stinks. Let's make it better.
Yeah.
And I remember a good friend of mine, James Keach. He's Stacy Keach's brother. He's a well-known director. He was the executive producer of Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. And Jimmy told me one day, he said, I submitted your name for a film. And the casting director said, oh, no, he's too difficult. So Jimmy said, you better figure out why you're difficult. So I went back and talked to a few people. And they said, Steve, do you realize that everything you did, you were always rewriting your dialogue? And I said, yeah, that's because I saw established actors do it. I mean, I would see, I did this film with Kathleen Turner and with Jane Seymour, and I would see these very established actors changing their lines. Well, they get to change their lines because without them, you got no movie.
Yeah.
The movie not going to get made without them, so they can do whatever the hell they want. But you, Steve Meadows, you can't do whatever the hell you want. You can't change the lines. You can't do this. And I said, well, you know what? Fine. I said, that's how my image and what I do is important to me. If I'm difficult, so be it. And which further spurred me to write, because I did several projects as an actor, and I'm reading the script and I'm going, this script sucks. This is terrible. And other actors that would read it would go, this is horrible. How is it green lit? Who's making this project and why? And as an actor, you're going, I can't say this. This is so bad. So I'm changing the lines and I'm going to the director, the producer, how about this? How about that? And they don't want to be bothered with that. They want to do like Spencer Tracy said, which is know your lines, hit your marks, and don't bump into the furniture, and just be my robot. Just walk on, say your lines, do your thing, be good, and see you tomorrow. And, every producer that I know in this business, when AI reaches a point where I can sit at my computer and state a prompt and say, I want a cowboy on a horse that looks like Jack Nicholson riding through the woods at full speed. And that's all I have to say. And boom, there's 10 seconds of video of a cowboy on a horse riding through the Montana woods that looks just like Jack Nicholson. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's coming. It's almost here.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be restrictions because trying to put Jack Nicholson's likeness on that cowboy, they're going to say you can't do that. And I agree, you should not be able to do that without paying Jack Nicholson a fee for his likeness. However, my feeling is, how do you stop someone in Borneo from doing this and uploading it to the internet? I mean, sure, you can stop someone in the US, Canada, Germany, but the internet is global. This technology is global. AI technology is global.
And very dangerous.
Sit at a computer and give it prompts and create a film that if it goes in a theater, an audience sits there and says, it looks real to me. I can't tell the difference. That was Jack Nicholson on the horse. I swear that was Jack Nicholson. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was AI, and a producer created that in 30 seconds on his computer.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So I don't know where it ends. And AI, I think, is a great tool. And I use it.
Very dangerous.
Pardon me?
Very dangerous when you ask me.
Well, it might be at the same time. You can't stop it. It's
no, you can't.
Like the automobile is going to replace the horse. I mean, you can't stop it. And it's here. And it's worldwide. And so we better learn to work with it and use it the best way we can and use it as a tool and understand its faults and understand its problems and, give it the right regulation that it requires. It's just that I don't know how you regulate something like that worldwide. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
And so that's the danger in it is, I mean, the content today, I watch streaming shows and I have a choice of 4,000 shows.
Yeah. 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 That's,
I mean,
yeah.
in the 80s and 90s,
We
when
don't
really
have it. Yeah.
up to this point, great films were being made, introspective films, films with meaning. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life, Forrest Gump, all these wonderful, great.
Movies. Yeah.
And that's when we didn't have 20,000 choices at our fingertips.
No, that's true.
Yeah. But now we do. So now the market has really changed. And, a 10-second viral video can be the most popular thing on the planet if it amuses people in some way or does something different that no one's seen before.
Yeah.
So getting someone's attention to go to a theater and sit there for 2 hours and pay attention and be involved in a film, I think in order to do that, you better have a really good quality project, and not just some piece of garbage that is thrown up there. And I think that day that the quality projects are coming fewer and farther between. And AI is only going to support that. I think it's going to be harder with the AI, and they don't have the technology yet, but I saw a piece of AI video. It's been 2 months now of a crowd of people in Times Square in New York City. And it was 5 or 6 seconds of a crowd of people walking away from camera. And you were at street level and Times Square was in the background. And I swear to God, for that 5 or 6 seconds, I could not tell that was AI. It looked completely real.
Yeah.
You didn't have really faces because everyone was walking away. But everything, the cars, the sky, the weather, the buildings, the lighting, everything was created with a prompt, a verbal prompt.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so here it is.
Here it is. Yeah.
We got to deal with it.
Yeah. AI, it's maybe it's some good for some things, but I think it's very dangerous in some place, remember Terminator 2? Just like that. Remember Terminator 2, the movie?
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous. Something like that,
Yeah, it is. It's dangerous. At the same time, I mean, guns replace bows and arrows, and guns are dangerous. Cars replace horses. Cars are dangerous. This is the world we live in. Change is the only thing that remains the same, is change. We either adapt or we fade away.
Yeah.
And, I'm 74 years old now, and I'm still struggling to adapt. I'm like, you have to adapt. You have to change, or you'll be left behind. And I see where, the sales of Tesla, for instance, are falling like crazy. Their stock has lost 50%, as it should, because, there's other vehicles replacing it that are easier to charge, that are more economical, that are just as, can perform just as well. So, we have to accept change. And that's about adaptability. That's about diversity. That's about staying relevant and being able to adjust to the world as it changes around us. What choice do we have? I mean, what choice do we really have?
Not
you
choice.
can choose to be a recluse. You can go to Alaska, build yourself a log cabin, and get yourself a couple of dogs and deal with 6 months of day and 6 months of night and hibernate for the rest of your life. You can do that. You can check out. Plenty of people do check out. I had a place in Hawaii that was covered by lava in 2018, and I used to love to go there because I could really check out. It was by the ocean, and no people around and quiet, and I could just be one with the water and snorkel and all of that. And you know, it got covered by lava, as did 750 other houses down there.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
people lost everything.
Yeah,
Some people had paid off their mortgages, so they didn't have any insurance at all. So when the lava came through, it wiped out everything they had. So
yeah,
they had to rebuild from scratch. A lot of these people were retired. That's change.
yeah.
Yeah.
How you
When
feel?
I had a lot more hair.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
How
Look
you
at
feel?
that. Peter Flint.
Yeah, yeah. How you feel when you look at that? I mean, 40 years ago. I mean, you
I
know.
know, I know. Well, I look at that and I think about the fact that that was my first real acting job, other than some commercials and a play. And I was very lucky to get it. And, you know, I was thinking when I started the show, they all knew I was inexperienced. I was 34 years old. Robin was 18, and nobody knew the difference in
Yeah,
our
yeah,
ages. But
yeah,
I was 34, she was 18. And I remember thinking at the time, well, they'll be really easy on me and not give me a lot of lines because they know I'm new at this, right?
yeah, right.
Wrong, wrong. I mean, they worked our butts off. When we started the show, I remember being on set once,
Yeah.
waiting to work with Robin for more than 24 hours
Oh my
because they
God.
were so far behind. They were so far behind when they started that show. It was a revolving door of directors and writers. And every week there would be a new writer, and
Yeah.
every week a new director. And then you'd never see that director again. And then
Yeah.
a new writer, and you'd never hear from that writer again. And then actors were being hired and fired. And I'm sitting there going, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the fact that they made him stop being this jealous guy that was just running after Kelly all the time, because that got old. That got old for me very quick. And I just thought, you know, I've never been a jealous, raging type. I said, make him have an aneurysm, make him, something's wrong with him. Give him something else to play other than being this cad, you know, of I think his other name was Antonio Fiorno. You know, I remember that. I was like, what? Where did this guy? They just popped that on us. Your name was really Antonio Fiorno. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't get it. But they kind of let that story part slide, or whatever. But when they said, look, how would you feel about having an aneurysm and it screws up your brain and you become this crazed killer? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. Give me that stuff. I mean, that's why I got into acting to begin with. I
Yeah.
didn't become an actor from teaching architecture to play what I look like necessarily. I got into acting to play characters. That's why this last thing I did as Whitey Bulger was so much fun, because I got to talk, you know, as a Southie from Boston and use a crazy voice and do all this kind of weird stuff. That's the fun in acting for me. It was never sort of be this nice looking leading man, you know, does everything right, can't make a mistake. I'm like, boring. That was so boring. But I had a lot of fun with it.
How you get this role?
How what?
How you get this role?
This role?
Yeah. How you get this role?
The which one? The one I
Peter. Yeah.
Peter.
How you get Peter?
Well, I had an agent, and they submitted me for the role, and so I went in because NBC was at the time, the soap hadn't started, and NBC said, we've got a new soap, and they built a whole studio just to shoot this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it had its own studio, and NBC built the studio, and it's going to be the best soap. It's the most expensive soap, which was. It's going to have, you know, great people, Dame Judith Anderson and Peter Mark Richmond and some other
Ah.
people. The first CC Capwell was a guy who never played the role, and I can't remember who was cast, but he apparently had some kind of heart thing, and he never got to play the role. So then they got in other people, but the reputation of the show was all over Hollywood, like this great show, you know. So I went on the first audition, and they called me back, and then they called me back again, and then they called me back the fourth time.
Mm-hmm.
So on the fourth callback, I was so tired of it. I remember this, and I was sitting on the couch waiting to go in for the fourth time audition for this role, and I fell asleep. I just put my feet up,
Oh,
and I
okay.
feet up on the couch, and I put my head back, and I fell asleep. And producers were walking by, I hear, and saw me and said, "Who's had to sleep on the couch?" You know, and you know, and there's other actors in the room. There's 7 or 8 other actors, and I'm like, I'm wasted. I'm out for the count, and so I fell asleep, and finally they came and woke me up and said, "Okay, you guys." I'm like, "Okay." So I come in, and I remember I had a visor on because I'd been windsurfing that day or something. And I had the visor on, and I lived in Hermosa Beach at the time. I had a house right on the beach. And so I was pretty tan, and I came in with the visor on, and my glasses were hanging around my neck. And I wasn't coming in as the character. I was just coming in as who I was, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is the fourth time, guys. You've seen me 3 times before. Make up your freaking minds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
this is getting
absolutely.
old because I'm free to come in for these auditions. You're not paying me a friggin' dime, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
during all that process at that time in the 80s, actors are free. You can bring in 200 actors for a role. They're all free. We don't care. We're Universal Studios. We're Warner Brothers. We
Yeah.
can bring in 300 actors. So, you know, so I went in, I did the thing, and then I hear from my agent a few days later, and they say, "You got it." I said, "Okay, great."
Wow.
So then I'm thinking, well, they're going to go easy on me because this is the first time I've really had a role like this, and that
Yeah.
was not true.
Yeah.
So,
When you look back, how you remember on the Dobsons first meeting?
the Dobsons, well, I met the Dobsons, I think the last 2 auditions, but they were just sitting behind a table. That was the first meeting. There was no real interaction with them. Who I had an interaction with was I think it was Jeffrey Hayden.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Hayden was the first director and the main director, and he had directed several films, and he had directed Ryan, what's his name? Ryan, I'm so bad. But he had directed some really big actors. So he was coming in as a known entity, Jeffrey Hayden. He had directed Peyton Place. That was
yeah.
yeah, and he had a really good reputation as a director. So when I was there at the 4th audition, Jeffrey and I talked, and the dialogue that I had to do was very sappy for that audition. And I remember the casting director, after I finished the 4th audition, saying, "You know, this dialogue really stinks." And Jeffrey Hayden said, "But he did it," meaning me. He said, "He did it. He did it right." Because I worked on that thing 1,000 times. It was just sappy dialogue. But I'm not going to change my dialogue for an audition. But then as I got on the show and I worked with A. Martinez, you know, A. Martinez and I had to rehearse a lot, and we're in his dressing room, and I'll never forget it. And I look at A, and he's changing his lines. And I said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
"What are you doing?" He said, I'm changing my lines." I said, "We can do that?" And he said, "Well, yeah, if you change them early in the morning and you go to the producers or the director and you get an okay for your changes."
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh my God." From that day on, for my entire career, from that day on, I was changing my dialogue. I was rewriting my words. because
Yeah,
I wanted to come off better.
yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
was thanked by a lot of actors that I worked with saying, God, I'm so glad you reworked that because it was so much smoother and easier to handle. And, it played so much better. So, I mean, that was my inspiration really for becoming a writer, was doing that,
Yeah,
is reading so many bad screenplays.
yeah, so many actors and actresses rewriting their lines and dialogues, and I think it's a good thing, because they say, oh, that character would never say that, so a rewriting and it's better one, so like that.
Well, in this town, I can tell you that established actors, A-list actors, sometimes will bring in their own script consultant to the set and sit there with the director and say, look, you're making this film, you're able to make this film because I'm in it. So therefore, here's my script consultant, and we're going to work on fixing this dialogue. And dialogue historically with big films is kind of the last thing
Mm,
that people really worry about. When for actors, it's the first thing we look at.
yeah,
And I mean, I can't tell you how many scripts I've been sent where I wouldn't, before I went and read the whole script, I would start flipping all the pages to find and not even read those pages until I came to the character I was supposed to play. And I would see,
absolutely.
what does my character say? And I would go, okay, that's not bad. Bum, bum, bum. There he is. Okay. And I'm like, what? That stinks. That's terrible. And then, I would go through the whole script just seeing what my character said.
Mm,
Then I would go back and read the script.
mm, mm.
That's what every actor does almost when they're to audition for a role, is see, what do I have to say?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So in all of the scripts that I write, dialogue is of primary importance to me because I want the actors to look at this and go, this really works. I really like the style.
Yeah, yeah,
As opposed to
absolutely.
saying, okay, just give me the check, please. Just give me the check. We'll fix it on set, blah, blah, blah. That's not a way to do quality work. You know, you need rehearsal time. You need good directors. You need directors that understand actors. You
Yeah,
need a director and a good cinematographer. You need a good editor. You need a good sound man. You need people that know what they're doing. And I mean, I'm so glad we went to digital tape and now it's of a good quality because a lot of the projects I did, we would shoot them on Panavision cameras. Well, most of those Panavision cameras were 35 millimeter cameras.
yeah,
They only had 10 minutes of film in them. Those
yeah,
reels are just 10 minutes of film. So inevitably you would be shooting a scene and the cameraman would say, cut, out of film. And it might have been your best take,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
the best take. And the cameraman says, cut, ran out of film. And, because you only had 10 minutes. And
Only
with
10
tape,
minutes. Yeah,
you just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. You just keep going. I mean, you can put so much time on these cameras now.
yeah.
And I mean, there's several films that there's a film called Chuck and Buck, which is a great film. Mike White wrote it and directed it and stars in it. He's a brilliant writer. And Chuck and Buck was shot on 4XL1 cameras. Those were
Wow.
the first digital tape cameras,
Hmm.
and they would just shoot and shoot and shoot. And it was cheap, and they would improv and they would shoot the improv. And then you get it all in the editing room, and you've got all these wonderful choices
Hmm.
because you've shot so much to pull from. And Chuck and Buck is a fantastic movie. It is highly rated, well done
Yeah,
film.
absolutely.
But it was shot on 4XL1 cameras. So the cameras today are upgrades of that camera, basically. They're the same kind of thing. And you can just keep on shooting and shooting and shooting. And that's a fortunate thing.
Mm.
But at the same time, everybody's got cell phones and we can shoot a lot with those. And there's films being made with cell phones. So I
Um,
think that's cool.
Absolutely. How you remember on your first filming on the first scene back in the day?
First scene? Oh, I don't even remember. Well, my first scene wasn't on Santa Barbara. I did a couple of scenes on, I think, Young and the Restless. I did, I played a cop on Young and the Restless. I walk in the room and I got 5 words or something. And then I did a few commercials, but I do remember on Young and the Restless when I was on the set and I had to play this cop, and we're doing the dress rehearsal, and I got on my cop uniform and I walk in and say something. I don't remember what.
Mm.
Then I hear this voice over a speaker in the studio go, "Could you move a little more to your right?" And I'm going, "Where the hell did that come from?" And because I didn't, I thought if somebody's going to direct me, they're going to be on set.
Yeah, yeah,
No, the director's in a booth
yeah.
and he's watching me on camera and he's saying, "Could you move a little bit to your right, please?" And I'm what? So they obviously knew it was my first time on a soap opera set. Now,
Yeah.
soap opera set is completely different from a film set or a episodic set or any of those things. So, you know, you usually have the director on set with you.
Mm.
And, but I had no idea. So that was my experience with kind of the first scene I ever did on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew when I got on Santa Barbara that there would be the voice of God coming over the speaker if we needed to do something different.
Mm.
But soaps are shot with 3 cameras. So
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
master shot and single shots across, and the
Of course.
director's in the booth snapping his fingers saying to go to camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, etc. And he's following the script. So he's watching the video and he's snapping his fingers, and the guy beside him is following the script and punching the buttons to go camera 1, camera 3, etc. So it's in essence being edited as it is shot.
Mm.
You know, that pretty much. I mean, soaps don't go into a big edit bay after they're done and then get edited. They're edited while it's happening. It's like shooting a live show. But for Santa Barbara, we did a read through at 7 a.m., camera blocking at, I believe it was 10, dress rehearsal at 1, break for lunch, come back at 2:30, and you shoot the show right straight through. You just go, and you're shooting 80 pages a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're just going, the cameras are just rolling down the studio floor from set to set to set, and the actors are getting called to the set to shoot this scene, and here we go to this one, and here we go to this one. And so you shoot the entire show in a period of about 2.5, 3 hours. It's shot.
Mm.
And it's in the can, and they may do some tweaks and editing if they have to. But many times the music is done as it's being shot as well. There's a guy in the music booth, and he's doing the music while he's watching the scene,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then they may tweak that a little bit. But look, the less tweaking they do, the better. So that was how that show was done. And One Life to Live was done pretty much the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Except One Life to Live, I will have to say, New York is a very competitive place for actors. So I felt that a lot of the actors on One Life to Live, everybody's worried about who's going to be more popular than me or this, that. And I mean, I could have cared less about any of that, but that was some of the feeling. Was a lot of tenseness on the set and pressure on the New York thing. And, you know, I just wanted to get off of that show and out of there as soon as I could.
Yeah.
But I got to play a crazy character. He was a crazy doctor. And, you know, I met Marcia Cross, who's still one of my good friends to this day. She was wonderful to work with. And, you know, it was a learning experience. And fortunately, from there, I got to do some films and other things. But I mean, film is a luxury because you shoot 3 or 4 pages a day. Yeah, soap, you shoot 80 pages a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Episodic, you shoot 10 pages a day, you know? So 10, 15, whatever. But I mean, shooting 80 pages a day is a mammoth task, you know, to undertake, to make it look good and work and then to be successful. But I mean, I hope the show comes to streaming because I think
Oh,
it
me
would get
too.
a
Yeah,
big audience.
yeah,
But
really famous here in Germany.
you just got to pay the people who did the music. And
Yeah,
I think that opening song, who was done by Kelly, what was his name? Last name Kelly. Well, I think is in jail, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I think that opening song was done by him. And that may be the hiccup in trying to get the rights to show the show.
yeah.
Is that he's in the can.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, when you say the right thing, we in Germany we miss all the show here. You know, the show once, on RTL and RTL Plus for first time, and then on the reruns for a little time, and then it was go off and never seen again. You know, and RTL Plus destroyed the tapes back in the day, 20 years ago. And a guy named Thorsten Lehmann, he buy copies from the VHS tape from the German version, but he must pay Fox $1,000 for the episode.
Oh yeah.
They have now the rights from Santa Barbara, so that's crazy. And I, I don't know if he was a success of all episodes, but he paid $1,000 for every episode. It's you know, I don't. It's crazy, crazy. You know, that is wow. It's
Money.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
money, man.
Yeah,
What it's
yeah,
all about. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I mean, this film that I'm doing now, I set it up as a nonprofit because only 1 in 10 independent films make money. Only 1 in 50,000 screenplays actually make it to the screen.
mm,
Of the 1 in 10 films that make money, you know, most of those are relatively simple stories, but the other 9 they lose money. So for an investor, independent films are not a good investment. They look at that and go, 9 out of 10 chance I'm not going to get my money back.
yeah,
So by making it a nonprofit, the investor, any contribution gets the full tax write-up.
yeah,
Because I'm not now at this point in my life, I'm not doing this to try and become a zillionaire. I mean, I'm very fortunate in my life. So I'm doing this because it's an important story. Now, the other scripts I have are very commercial. They're very, one's a thriller, one's a horror movie, one's like a chase action movie. So they're very commercial, and I wouldn't do those as a charity film. But this one's a nonprofit, and I'm hoping to bring people to the table because it's an important topic. It deals with end of life decisions and having members of your family that are terminally ill and making decisions for them when they can't, and
mm,
how it's an issue that most of us refuse to talk about. However, 95% of us are going to have to face those problems at some point in our life, either for ourselves or for someone in our family. It's either we got to make a decision about how we're going out, or we
yeah.
got to help somebody else make a decision about how we're going out.
Mm.
But nobody wants to talk about it,
No,
and
no,
it's illegal, and it's only legal in 13 states in the U.S. and it's illegal in the rest of the states. And but in other countries, in Finland and places, the Netherlands, it's legal. So we all need to talk about it and figure it out. Americans can't keep when we have these life-ending decisions we have to make. We don't want to have to drive 300 miles to another state, to deal with this. And
yeah,
I mean, with that, it's just everybody has to make choices. We all have these choices.
yeah,
So that's what the film addresses: is what choices are we going to make? And it's based on a true story and all of that. So it's a nonprofit and it's an important film, and it has a social message. And that's where I want to put my time now, is trying to give back something. I mean, you may know from looking at some of my biography, I've been a volunteer, medical relief volunteer in other countries. I was in Sri Lanka. I was in after the tsunami, and I was in Peru. I worked for Mother Teresa's as
wow,
and her home for the dying and destitute in Lima. and I took care of the 18 to 24-year-old men who had birth defects and could not feed themselves or bathe themselves or any of that. And it was a terrific experience. And I remember coming back to the place where the volunteers were staying on the first day that I worked at Mother Teresa's, and I came back and put my head in my hands and I just cried. And I said, I can't believe that this is what other cultures have to face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Peruvian culture, it's pretty much all Catholic. And the Pope tells these women that are 55 years old and older that you shouldn't practice birth control, and that it's okay to have kids when you're that age. And so these 50-plus-year-old women have children because the Pope says it's okay. And then the child is got a birth defect, as many do at that age.
Yeah.
And the Peruvian society is very poor. And so the mother doesn't know what to do with this child and can't take care of it. So the mother gives it to Mother Teresa's, and Mother Teresa's raises the child. Well, most of these children die before the age of 23 or 24 from the birth defect. And the level of care they receive is very poor. Even with Mother Teresa helping, it's all donations. And Peruvian society, if I want to donate 20 wheelchairs from the US to Peru and give these wheelchairs to Mother Teresa's, Mother Teresa's will get taxed at 1/3 the assessed value, and the assessment is done by the government of Peru. So as a result, the wheelchairs that these boys were sitting in that I took care of were from 1955. They were broken down pieces of junk. But doing volunteering will change your life. So I highly recommend it to anyone. It's very necessary.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be able to go and do it.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes from Peter is when he was with Kelly on the boat. I love that episodes when you guys on the boat. How you remember on this?
Oh, well, that's when we started the show?
Yeah, that was in the beginning, in the early days. Yeah.
Oh, in the beginning. Oh, yeah. Well, I remember one of those scenes was with Kelly on the boat. And I think the scene starts where I snuff out a candle or something. And that was in the very early days. And those particular scenes that we shot were the ones that we had been on set for, waiting to do for 24 hours.
Oh, wow. 24 hours.
Those
oh, my
scenes.
God.
And then when we shot them, we had to shoot, I think, 4 scenes back to back.
Back to back, yeah.
At, I don't know what time it was, 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh,
whatever.
God, yeah.
You know, but that was the scenes on the boat. And we weren't on the boat. We were actually in the studio at NBC.
Yeah, in the studio, yeah.
Yeah.
But
those
were
real. Good scenes.
Yeah, but was really very real, the scene for me, on the boat.
Yeah.
It was really, really real, And
well, we had a lot of time to rehearse because we'd been sitting in our dressing room for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Her dressing room was right next to mine.
Okay.
So we rehearsed all the time in each other's dressing rooms. And I remember that day because I think the director's first name was Peter. I can't remember his last name, but he said, "I'm going to start on you snuffing the candle." I said, "Good start." So we started on me snuffing the candle, and the camera pulls out, and then it cuts to Kelly and back to me. I remember those scenes very well. And we were wasted. We were so tired because we've been sitting on set in our dressing rooms for all that time. But that was the experience I recall with those. And they were some of the first scenes we ever shot.
That's very cool, by the way. And then Joe Perkins came on the boat, and wow.
Dane,
wow.
Yeah, Dane was great. He was
absolutely.
Great guy. I really liked him. We always hit it off. I met him like the first day we went to lunch, and I'm so sorry for his loss.
Me too. Terrific actor. Really terrific. He was so passionate and fire to play Joe Perkins. And that's to say to all of you, you're not playing the character, you are the character, right?
We
Right?
felt that way. And when they let him go, I was so upset.
Yeah,
I was,
the earthquake was it, you're
and,
right.
and they didn't let him go the right way.
No, that's true. That's true.
It was all done wrong. And when they replaced him, I liked the guy. I got along fine with the. I can't remember the guy who replaced him, but I got along fine with him. But
Well, the first was ever the best. The first Joe
yeah,
was the
Dane
best.
was great.
Yeah.
That was a Dobson's decision, and nobody knew why they were making the decisions they were.
Yeah.
They never told us why.
Yeah.
They just made the decision, and this is the way it was going to be. And Peter killed off a lot of blondes, and I asked him. I said, "Why did you kill off some of these actors?" And the explanation was, "We had too many blondes on the show." And I'm like, "Okay, too many blondes."
That's a hard word.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that was the explanation.
Yeah.
We had too many blondes on the show.
Say, that's a hard word, to kill off. We have too many of them. So
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
and and I remember so many scenes on that show. The earthquake was a really great storyline, and then when you go off the show, you was on almost 1 year on the show, and then you go off and then became your recurring character. And I say, oh, what's that? Why you took off Peter and then how was it
Well,
for
Peter
you?
was a killer. You gotta get rid of killers. But what I liked about it was that the Dobsons called me in, and I knew well ahead of time what Peter's fate was.
Mhm.
So I was really enjoying that. I was enjoying going out of my mind and having an aneurysm and freaking out and not knowing where I was. And and A. Martinez used to say that I was working without a net. And in a lot of ways I was, and I liked it. I liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's why I got into the business was to play characters and not just be a non-vulnerable kind of leading man guy,
Mhm.
that I got cast in a lot of TV shows after the soaps. But anyway, it's all good experiences. And I mean, acting was a wonderful, wonderful thing for me. I was able to do a lot of the things that I set out to do. I always fantasized about it when I was a kid, of acting and doing that. But, I was always kind of pressed with my Southern upbringing to focus on something that was a tangible profession where I knew I could make a decent living, and have that as being a base. So that's why I went into architecture, And but Peter was a fun character to play.
Yeah, absolutely. He was so strong, so much fire, so much, he have all drama, humor, everything he had, And then you go off the show for a year. How was it for you to leave the show so soon? I'm sure you get many fan mails in that time.
Oh yeah. Fan mail's great. I mean, I tried to always respond to it, and I mean, but soaps at the time, I think for many actors and many of the writing of a soap,
Hmm.
there's a false sincerity there when in the writing,
Yeah.
and that false sincerity is pushing actors to over emote.
Hmm.
And unless that emotion is coming from a place in your heart or real, it's going to look like you're just acting. You're over emoting. You're shaking your head, and you're not
Yeah.
really angry,
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the drawbacks to soaps in general, is that false sincerity.
Mhm.
And everything changes and everything revolves, and there's a few soaps on now still, I think, but I confess I don't watch soaps. I mean, I watch a lot of nature shows and animal shows and
Mhm.
great films, and I love the the show, I think 1923 is great with Harrison Ford. There's a few other ones that are wonderful.
Yeah.
Landman with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he is just awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I love his work. He is so
Yeah.
good. So I have some favorite things that I watch and appreciate, but I'm kind of the old school of I like quality and and some of the stuff now that I see shot in Poland or wherever, and it's three actors chasing each other through the woods for 90 minutes, and that's the movie. And at the end, the girl kills the two bad guys,
Yeah.
and you just kind of go, okay.
Um, are, are you satisfied with Peter's go out from the show? Are you satisfied with the end from the character?
With what? Satisfied with what?
What you satisfied with the way that Peter ended in the show? Was okay for you, or say, oh, that was not a good end for the character?
Oh, I think they could have, drug it out longer if they wanted to, but I mean, that's their privilege. I mean, I knew he was going to get shot or killed, and I knew it was going to be, I knew it was going to be A. Martinez that was doing it because he had,
Yeah.
but and I had to try to kidnap Kelly and take her away and all of that, and I mean, all that was fun. It was just work. It was just uh, uh, what they wrote for the character, and I was actually at the time. I mean, I started the show at 34, and I did it for almost a year. I was 35 years old. Being 35 years old and starting out as an actor is with only one credit. You're behind the eight ball.
Mm.
So I was glad to be off the show so I could do other things,
Yeah.
and try to go on to do films and things like that. I mean, I was almost 40 years old before I did my first film, and it was such a luxury to do films where you're only shooting 3 or 4 pages a day, and you have time to rehearse, and you have time to work with the other actor, and you can work with the director, and you can ask questions. I mean, otherwise, doing a soap is like doing a play a day. I mean, imagine doing a different play every day, because that's kind of what it is. Because we would only get the scripts a couple of nights before, and you really don't have
the time,
those 2 nights to work on it, because you got to work on the one that's shooting the next day.
Yeah.
So you only got a day or so to work on that script. And I remember one day on Santa Barbara, you count the number of pages that you're on as an actor when you flip through the script. You see, how many pages do I have today? 10, 12, 14. One day I had 52 pages of an 80-page script.
Oh, yes.
I walked in that morning and I just threw my hands up and I said, guys, 52 pages. I said, come on. I said, you're going to get what I give you. I'll do the best I can. But it was one of the best days I had, because I just kind of went off the rails and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. And have you stay in contact with the other actors when you leave the show?
A few, yeah. Richard Eden, I saw a lot of them at the 40-year reunion. I went to that.
Oh, yeah. How was it for you to see?
It was fun. It was great. Great. I saw Louise Sorel, Richard Eden, John Allen Nelson. Who else did I see when I was there? Gosh, I mean,
Martinez was there.
I saw A. Talk with him.
Robin was there.
Robin wasn't there.
No, wasn't there? No.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, yeah.
No, she wasn't there.
Okay. I mean, I heard the
40-year reunion. No, she was not there.
But one of the Kelly was there.
Oh, maybe. Did they replace Kelly? I never knew. See, after I left,
3 other Kellys.
3 other Kellys?
Yeah.
You're giving me news. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And interesting fact is, there's 4 CC, and the last one was the famous one. Jed Allen was the famous CC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Peter Mark Richmond was the first, and Charles Spade. And the 3, I don't know his name in the time, but when Jed Allen came, he was the famous CC and everything loved him, and
Yeah, I
that
remember
was
he was good.
yeah,
He was on there right as at the last part when I was there. But no, yeah, Robin didn't come, and I mean, several of the actors are no longer with us, as you know, and several of the
sadly, yeah.
and Paul
And
Rouse was one of the producers.
Richard Eden was there. Richard Eden was
Yeah,
there.
I saw him. I
Yeah,
talked to him.
yeah. Was a great guy, and he was a great character he played.
He
And
was,
and he tell me that they discussed on the event to bring the streaming. The Dobsons want to find a way to bring the on streaming on Netflix. Maybe he tell me on that.
well, I'm sure. I mean, if they can work the music, I think everybody tells me the difficulty is with the music. If they can figure that out, I mean, if it were me and I owned the show, I would just put different music over. I would just cut the music that they're having a problem with and put something else there. But I don't know how difficult that is because you probably got that music in the background where you've got actors with dialogue and all that. So trying to pull that off could be pretty tough. I don't know. That's technical stuff.
When you ask me, it is a mistake to remove a famous sound or soundtrack from a series. Look, Baywatch. Baywatch, they took off all the original music from the HD version. In a it's really great version, but I missed the sound from the 80s
Sure,
and the 90s. And all the music. And remember the pilot. From Baywatch. Have so much great ending song in the pilot, in the original version. And then came
Yep.
the new version. And I say, hey guys, come on, what is this? This is not Baywatch. I mean, they made a great job to make a better quality of the show.
All money. I mean, if they'd have been pay
yeah.
enough money to the people who wrote the music, they could have done it. And they have limits. Plus they have to do an analysis and see how much money makes sense to pay for the music based on what they're going to get by streaming it or whatever. I mean, and sometimes it's just not going to wash.
Yeah.
It's not going to fly.
But
And
but an interesting fact it is they took the intro from the first season away because NBC say no, you not use our Baywatch intro, use your intro from season 2. So the HD version starts with the season 2 intro. On DVD you have the original Save Me from Peter Corner, and then they NBC no, you not use our intro. You get up with your own intro from season 2. And I say, come on, guys,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you? Save me.
Yeah, I was in Bangkok and I went into this. I stayed in Bangkok a couple of nights before I went to Sri Lanka, and I stayed in this place that had a DVD player. So I said, "Well, I'll go out and try to rent a DVD."
Mhm.
And I went to this little place, and the guy said, "You want to see behind the curtain?" And I said, "Well, what's behind the curtain?" And he took me behind the curtain, and they were all the black market DVDs,
Yeah.
everything. I could rent any of those. So I rented a black market movie just to see what it would look like. I can't even remember the name of the movie. And I took it back to my room and I put it in. And in the movie, somebody had taken a video camera and gone into a theater and held a video camera in the theater and videotaped the movie on screen in the theater, and people's heads were in the bottom of the video.
Yeah.
That's what they were selling.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be kidding me. So, I mean, there's no rules. People do crazy stuff. You can probably buy the original versions of Santa Barbara in Thailand or Bangkok. Who knows? But it's just so much black market crap out there.
Many people buying DVDs or something for Santa Barbara. It's all TV versions,
Yeah.
not from the studio version. It's all TV version. So
somebody
people,
T-vote it.
Yeah, it's so many
T-vote it and then spit it out on a DVD, and then and that's unfortunately what I see AI doing is is having a lot of effect on that. I don't know if you tried to project 5, 10 years from now what the changes AI is going to make. I have no idea how far this is going to go.
You
I
say
have
you
no
said right, I believe at the time when Guiding Light airs and the other soaps, Santa Barbara and stuff, I believe in the past they say, oh no, no one buy that on DVD or something or for estate, But today
Yeah.
wants watch it. Everyone say watch it, and it's horrible,
Yeah.
We have so many soap operas here in Germany, and there's so much fan base from Guiding Light, Santa Barbara, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, Neighbors, and all the famous soap era here, and you can read it everywhere in the internet. Oh, please, made a rerun, or give us the more DVDs, And interesting fact is that Germany have the most boxes DVD on Bold and the Beautiful from the beginning. The
Ah,
300 300 episodes we have so many
wow.
DVD boxes from the original version, for episode 1 to 300, and it's just so crazy.
Well, over here, the DVD, direct to DVD market is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Very few things go to DVD now. It's just it's streaming. It's all streaming.
I'm a people who use DVD for saving things, I
Yes.
grew up with DVDs, so when I hear something here, to something like that,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
Young and the Rentless, my
Yeah.
records,
Well, I could
you
show
know.
you over here. I have 400 DVDs.
Yeah, me too. I grown up with it. It's
Computer
normal for me.
backups, all kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to put those on a hard drive because if I do and that hard drive crashes, I've lost it,
Yeah, yeah,
I've had a hard drive crash and I didn't know this, but if you have a crash on a hard drive, you're not getting that data back. It's all gone. It's all gone.
it's
So
all
you got
gone,
to back
sadly.
up the
Yeah,
hard drives. You think that, oh, I can get a little bit of this data or that data. It's gone, man.
it's
And I
really
have
gone. Yeah,
lost a hard drive that way with a lot of good stuff on it. So now I back up, once a week. And so I'm not too far behind on everything.
yeah.
This
Before
is
we,
so weird looking at that picture.
yeah,
God,
but before we came to the end, when you're off the show, have you still watched Santa Barbara, or you not watch it when you leave the show?
I didn't really watch. I watched it a couple of times after I left the show, but my mind at the time was so focused on another business I have, which is my One Giant Leap for Humanity business and the balloons and all that.
Mm.
And I had an office and warehouse in Glendale, and I was there 12, 14 hours a day for a couple of years, and one of my products was on the Today Show, and then
Immerhin sind wir jetzt.
good hair then.
Lass uns gehen.
Ah, it's so cool. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard the sound?
I could hear, yeah, the dubbed German, yeah.
Yeah, the German. Oh, the scene what you Peter and Kelly playing on the boat, and
Yeah.
Peter say, that is a shame that Joe Perkins came out so soon, and Kelly
Yeah.
say, oh come on, we gone on a boat, we have fun. Who cares? Who cares, Joe?
Yeah.
I love that scene, and then you're gonna get off the boat, and 3 or 5 episodes later, Joe came on the board. On board
Right.
the ship. Oh, it's just so cheesy, so great, and you look still like Peter, like I said in it before, So, um, let me ask you one question before we end this here. When you was on the anniversary event, Richard say they play some scene from the show, when you're still there and you watch it, some scenes from the soap back then, how was your feeling? You see some old scene.
We had a meeting in an auditorium where we sat on stage and there was an audience out there, and they showed some pictures. I don't recall them showing many scenes. In fact, everything that I recall seeing was they showed a slideshow of all the actors and producers that had died, that had passed away. And that went on for quite a while, which was, surprising because there were so many.
Yeah, well, many actors. Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and I
many.
remember seeing that and going, wow, all these people are no longer with us. And as
Yeah,
far as
yeah.
scenes, I don't think they even showed any scenes that I recall, at that thing. If they did, maybe it wasn't in there for that time. But I was on stage the whole time. I don't think they showed any scenes from the show. There was just too many to choose from. But we answered a lot of the audience questions. That was mainly, it was a Q&A.
Yeah, and Richard say even German fans was there on the event.
Oh yeah, there were people from around the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you say, wow, so many people come to this event here, and
Yeah.
he said, wow, really, we have a really still huge fan base at all in the world.
Yeah.
That is
Well, I
really
wish
cool.
Robin could have been there. I ran into her with Sean Penn some years ago at a hotel in Santa Monica, and it was great to see her. She just looked great. She's such a wonderful gal, and her personality is so different from the character she plays.
Yeah,
I mean, Robin
yeah.
is a very effervescent, outgoing person, and she comes across with these very stern, kind of serious characters. I love watching her because she's so good at that.
Mm. And for me as a fan, there's so many important roles on the show, and I hated when the mayor recast, when they took off Lon Davis from the show. He was the
Yeah.
best. He was the
I know.
best from for this role. I don't understand
Saul
why.
Main at Union, he was.
Yeah. I say why he's great. He understands the character. He understands really what this character means. And he said then to the producer, hey, I need more money for this, It's a famous show. And you not give me the money for it. And he have every right to, it is so. It is so. I believe when you're an actor on so famous soap and you can say in 1 year or 2 years give me more money, you have every right for that, right?
Well, yeah, you do. And I mean, I think you may know that Robin Wright was cast in Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And in order for her to go and do Princess Bride, Santa Barbara had some very high demands of her.
Yeah.
And I know that's one reason that she wasn't happy with, the last few years she did on the show, is because they forced her to do things that she didn't want to do. And
yeah,
I mean, these shows, I was happy to be out of it after a year because I was older and I didn't have, if I'd been Robin's age, 18, 19 years old, you can spend a few years on a show and it not screw up your career. But for me at 34, I didn't want to spend 3 years on a daytime show
okay.
because I wanted to do films. Film
Yeah.
for actors is the cream of the crop because you have the time to work on the material. You have the time to work with a director. And soaps at the time were shot very fast, written by different actors, a different director every week or every 2 weeks. It was chaos for an actor. And so actors want stability. That's why when you see actors that do films and they come across, like if you look at My Left Foot or Daniel Day-Lewis and some of these other things, they have the time to work on these. And that's what the actors want.
Yeah.
The actors that I know anyway. Some actors, if you're doing a reality show, they don't care. They're just off the cuff and they're playing whatever. And, or it's a comedy, you're improvising a lot. But that's not what dramatic introspective acting is about. It's about developing the character and getting a handle on it. And I model myself after the great ones. I try to look at people like De Niro and Pacino and all these people that are very studied and take their time and come off with incredible performances. I mean, that's the dream actors have, is to do that kind of work.
Right.
And so I've always tried to look at that part of it.
And then you say you have not missed Peter at all when you're off the show. You not miss him?
Do I have what?
You have not missed it to play Peter when you're off the show.
I miss the people.
Ah, yeah, the people. Yeah, of
Miss
course.
the people I work with. I didn't really miss doing a soap opera.
Mhm.
I miss the people. I miss doing, being with those people, working with them every day and having fun. And, when we go up on lines, looking at the camera and going, they can't use it. We would do that.
Yeah, of course.
When we flub a line, if we flub a line, sometimes they buy it because they're behind schedule. So the only way an actor protects themselves after you flub a line is to look right in the camera and go, then they can't use it.
Yeah.
So that's what we had to do. And Robin and I did that a lot. We did that a lot.
Okay.
Because we go up on a line and, because they buy it. They'd say, moving on. When you hear that moving on, you go, no, I need another take. I need another take. But you don't get another take.
Yeah. Do you know how end the show? Do you know how ended the show? What the last scene was?
No.
So it was the story was an end. All cliffhanger was solved and stuff, and then they walked to the studio. The whole scene, the last 5-6 minutes, is they walk to the actors and say hello, thank you, and then show us the set, and then someone made out the light, and that was the end of
That was
Santa
it,
Barbara.
huh?
That was yeah, it was crazy. You see on the last day, on the last episode, you see the whole set.
Wow.
So when I watch it, I'm so you're so funny. Jet Allen said, "Hey, thank you guys. It was so honored to meet you." And he walked to it, and wow. Well, and it was a blast, and it was a great ending too. Made out the light,
Yeah.
Turn off the light, and it's still ended, and what's a great way to do it,
Yeah.
And
Like I said, I miss the people. The people. I mean, I loved working with Abe Martinez. I liked working with Robin. We had so much fun. When Peter went crazy and took a chainsaw through the door and all that, as soon as they said cut, we would laugh so hard. We would just laugh our asses off at this crazy stuff we were doing,
fabulous scene, fabulous, and when you look at now, you can see how a great actor you are, and so so you have so much power into Peter, so much fire, and that is the thing on you actors, I believe. Like I said before, you're not playing the role, you are the role for a different time of your life,
Oh, it affected me. I mean, I was living with a gal at the time.
Yeah.
When the show ended, and I remember, when I went off the show, and I remember telling her, "I'm just going to miss the people so much."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I missed more than anything, was just being there on set with the people.
Yeah, there was also kind, and there was really honest people.
Well, we were like a family, and that's very different. That's very different in New York shows.
Yeah, that's very different. Yeah.
Santa Barbara, we all kind of came together. We all tried to help each other and reinforce each other.
That is the thing.
We reinforced each other's work, and I think that there wasn't such so evident in New York. There wasn't a lot of that.
Yeah, I think you say the right thing to help each other to do better the scene, or you feel how, to talk with each other, how you feel today. Can you do this or not? Something
Right,
like that,
right.
And that is the thing that you all guys together and big family, and this,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a really great thing. And Peter was so, so strong, you know, never imagined this is a bad guy. In the first 30 episodes, I believed that he was a bad guy. For me, like he's a tough guy, and he's harmless, he's cool anyway, and then he's a killer. I say to me, what?
I was having fun. It was great.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I got an email or a text or something from some women's club,
Yeah.
and they wanted to auction off the stocking that I used to strangle the women. Because
Yeah.
every time I'd strangle a woman, I'd tie another knot in the stocking. And the women's club auctioned off the stocking that I had.
No way. That's just awesome, by the way.
I'm like, okay, auction the
Yeah.
stocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a sad thing on Santa Barbara is that the Dobson was fired, and they must fight it on the court to back in the show, and that was for me really hurtful. He heard he
Thompson's got fired. Who replaced them?
some unknown writers and something and producers something, and it came
Was it Paul Rouse? Did he replace
yeah. There was fired for 6 years, and they came back 1999 in the first 3 last years from the show, and they came in. They forced it, because NBC was not happy with the direction what the Dobson won, and they say, listen, we made strong characters, strong stories, and we must hold that line. And when you broke it on we cannot hold the viewers, the fans, there's the ratings has gone on, and they're right. And when they came back and they say we try our best, but the ratings would never be the same again on the beginning. And
Well, that's when the internet really started getting big and people got cell phones and there was a lot of viral stuff. And, you have to look at the choices in the industry now. I mean, if I go down and watch TV, I've got 20,000 choices.
yeah, 20,000. Yeah, you say
Please. I
Yeah.
mean, in 99, you had 5,000 choices,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's just going to be more and more and more. So I think the only way to stand out is to do the very best projects you can, because the cream will always, as I said, come to the top. So that's my focus now, is just trying to do really worthwhile projects. I have no desire to create fodder to just bring in dollars. That's off my table. And I encourage other people to look for the quality and try to create that. But people are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, you have no control over what anyone else does. So that's how it works.
one thing I have for you: when you're on the street, the people recognize you still as Peter, or is this no more?
Once in a great while.
Yeah.
But I don't have this beard as Peter, so people don't do that. But I remember coming back from when I came back from Sri Lanka, I had to go through Paris, and a lot of people in the airport recognized me
Oh,
because it was a real popular show in France.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But now, and some people around where I live, they know I was on several shows, so they'll mention it to somebody and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I remember him," or whatever. But it's rare that anybody recognizes me on the street and goes, "Are you Peter Flint?" I don't see that so much anymore. Plus, I mean, I'm losing my hair.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's time. I have a younger brother, 3 years younger than me. He's been completely bald since the age of 24.
Okay.
So I feel lucky I got to keep mine for a while.
Well, how's it for you back then in the 80s when you on the street and the people came to you?
Oh
How
yeah,
was it for you?
a lot of people would recognize me. I didn't like it. I lead a much more reclusive life. Because I would have people follow me.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
And, I would have people stop me and want to ask a lot of questions about the show, the future of this or that, which I didn't know the answers to because they don't tell us.
That's true.
They don't tell us where the story's
No.
going. We learn a week before, a few days before, and people would say, well, why is Kelly, why is this or why is that? And I said, I don't know.
You have
They
not
don't
a
tell us.
script. Yeah, you have not the script.
They just send us the script. And I like when I was married to my first wife, I mean, people would recognize us everywhere. And I didn't like it because she was well known and I was somewhat well known. And people would stop us and, want autographs and want to take us to dinner or to lunch. And they'd be complete strangers. And you don't feel safe. And when my kids were little and
Yeah.
people would approach us I had 3 young children, I would always feel that I had to protect my kids. Like, who is this crazy person? Because we didn't have bodyguards walking around with us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And when we went to when I took my family to Disneyland, we had to have 2 guys in blue blazers walk around with us so that all the people in Disneyland didn't come rushing up to us.
I
And
understand what you
I
feel.
don't enjoy that life.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that life.
Yeah.
People, celebrities that have that, I understand why they moved to New Mexico. I understand why they don't register their homes in their own name. I understand why their cell phones and numbers are all confidential because it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It can be very dangerous. My first wife had a stalker, and that stalker.
That's horrible. Oh, that's horrible.
We had to have a guard outside our gate 24 hours a day for a while.
Oh yeah.
Because he had threatened to come and do all kind of things to her and her family. And, I did not enjoy that being recognized.
I'm so sorry for that. That is horrible.
But that happens to everybody. Look, if you're on television on a regular basis, I don't care if you're a newscaster or on a comedy show or what. If you're on TV, you're gonna get threats. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah.
It's gonna happen to everybody. And it's really unfortunate. And that's why I did not enjoy that celebrity notoriety and why I don't play into that now or try to promote that at all. And Jack Nicholson's son went to school with mine, and they're the same age. And his son is a very smart guy. And Jack Nicholson said one day, he said, it's hard for him to remember that to many people that he meets for the first time, that to them, it's the greatest day of their lives.
Yeah.
And to feel that responsibility that you have to somehow be on or cater to that person who is a fan, that to them, they're just, oh my God, I'm meeting Peter Flynn, or that's just a great thing. That you feel responsible to give them something is a real burden. I mean, that's like, hey, I'm just doing a job. I shouldn't have to sit down and talk to you for an hour because you like my movie and your mother likes the show or whatever. That's not our responsibility. And if they want to write an email, if they want to, they can always get in touch some way and we can reply. But to approach people on the street is a true invasion of privacy. And
yeah, that's true.
Many times we feel threatened by that.
Yeah.
Because crazy people will walk up to you. Crazy people walk up.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw you on TV. And you're like, wait a minute, hold on, back up. You don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Rebecca Schaefer, her story, right? Rebecca Schaefer did a film with me, with Diane Cannon. It was called The End of Innocence.
Mhm.
And Rebecca Schaefer played Diane's character when she was young. And Rebecca Schaefer, I knew her from working on the film with her.
Mhm.
And while the film was being edited, after we had finished shooting,
Mhm.
Rebecca Schaefer was 21 years old. She was 21. She lived in, I think, Melrose, an area of Hollywood,
Mhm.
and she didn't have protection.
Mhm.
A guy came to her door, knocked on the door. She opened the door. The guy had him autograph a picture of her, and then he shot her dead.
Oh my God.
The guy's still in jail now. He was
Yeah,
crazy.
crazy.
But
Yeah.
the story of Rebecca Schaefer is a very well-known story in Hollywood. And Diane Cannon was editing the film at that time and had to watch Rebecca perform as an actor and play that character, knowing that she just was murdered in Hollywood, in her home, by a crazy, screwed up fan.
Yeah.
And she opened the door and was shot point blank.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I look at that, and she's not the only one. This has
Yeah.
happened before. She was just a beautiful young girl at 21 who opened the door for a complete stranger who was a fan who shot her dead.
Hmm.
Something's wrong with that picture.
Yeah, you said it right.
So now you can understand why people, even people who are influencers, run a risk. If you're an influencer and they know where you live, some nutcase in this country who can go buy a gun with no papers in Texas and drive to California can knock on your door and blow your head off.
Yeah, yeah,
That's sick.
yeah.
So we feel that we have to protect ourselves. I have cameras all around my house. I have
Yeah,
alarms. I have a big dog.
Yeah,
And I had to do this when my kids were young. We had gates. We had a guard outside the gate. We had 3 dogs. We had cameras everywhere. That's not good. But all people in this business who reach a certain point, and even with a podcast, if you become famous with your podcast, look out. Somebody may come gunning for you, and that's sick.
Yeah,
That's the kind of people we have in this world. There's some mixed up people out there.
Yeah.
Someone said no one ever went broke underestimating people's intelligence, and they were right.
Yeah, what you say, remember me on a famous group from Sweden, Ace of Base. Jenny is one of the front singers. She was on her parents' home, and then she sleep, and then came a German fan, stalked her and took her with a knife. And she never recovered from that. She's just okay from that, but she not recovered from that. You remind me what you say about, what was, when I read it back then, I say, oh my God, cannot imagine how,
Well, there's a famous actress, I can't remember her name, but she was attacked with a knife and her throat was cut several times and she survived. And she's got some big scars here, but the experience changed her for life.
Yeah, that changed.
I mean, I've had a policeman, I've had a cop tell me and tell a girlfriend of mine that if he was a woman, he would carry a gun. If he was a concealed carry or not, laws or not, if he was a woman, he would carry a gun, especially an attractive woman, because they get all kind of things can happen. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I'm not a big proponent of people carrying guns, but how well if you're have any notoriety, it's why you see people with bodyguards and all of that. I mean, Sylvester Stallone has a bodyguard that goes with him everywhere.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was pedaling down the bike path here next to my house about a month ago. Somebody said, there goes Arnold with his bodyguard. They all have bodyguards.
Even
like
Kevin James have a bodyguard.
Yep.
So like he said in an interview, I walk on the street, but without no bodyguard. I need a bodyguard when I walk outside. So,
who says that?
Kevin James from King of Queens. He played the famous role of Doug Heffernan on
Yep.
a really great series, by the way. And he said,
Athletes,
Yeah.
I mean, athletes, anybody, politicians, it's, we all put ourselves in that position by accepting the positions we take. But I will say for myself that I had no idea how bad it could be
Mm,
and how disrupting to my life and the life of my children and the life of my wife that threat could be.
mm,
And I went back to visit my brother in the Deep South, and we would go to a restaurant in the Deep South with my family. And I would walk in with my wife and my kids. Everyone in the restaurant would stop eating and turn and look. And we would try to have a dinner, but inevitably someone would walk up and want an autograph or want to talk. Or when we left the restaurant, someone would come up and again want to talk and want to ask about the show or want this or want that. We couldn't go to a restaurant.
no.
We didn't have a bodyguard with us
No,
to
no,
tell
that's-
people, please let them have their meal in peace. But this was visiting my brother in the South, and we went out to a couple of restaurants, and so we can't do that again.
Mm,
We couldn't go on a cruise ship. I wanted to take my family on a cruise, but
mhm,
we couldn't go on a cruise ship
Mhm.
because once you're on a cruise ship, you can't get away from these people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They're there
yeah,
for
yeah,
the cruise.
Yeah.
So if they keep coming up to you and saying, can we talk about this, about that? How does my daughter become an actor? How does my son get in the business to be a director?
Mm, mm,
How does this get, it's like, I don't want to talk to you right now,
mhm, mhm.
So cruise ship, they lock you in. So I could never take my family on a cruise.
No.
I wanted to. Now I can because nobody recognizes me anymore.
Yeah. And at the end, you have a great shirt, by the way. Have the time of your life. A great shirt that you wear.
Oh, this
Yeah, that's just
this is my
awesome.
son.
Oh,
This is my son. This is a camp that he went to, Pally Camp.
oh,
Wait,
wow.
that's my daughter.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
my daughter. That's my son.
It's a great
I
shirt
don't
you
know
have.
who these two are, but they both went to this camp, and she's a singer and a dancer.
Oh,
And he's a skateboard magician. He's amazing. Except he's got
wow.
metal plates in his legs now from skateboarding. And she sings, but she's teaching dance now. She's getting her master's degree, and great kids. My third son, I don't think he was born when these were made.
A genius shirt for a proud dad.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
good,
that's-
sir. My kiddos.
Absolute. Steve, I can say thank you enough. Thank you that your time was spent.
Very well. I'm
with
glad to
us.
talk to you.
It
It
was
was
so
fun.
fun.
Help me remember some old times.
Yeah, and hopefully I bring you good memories back.
Yeah, you did. You did. Absolutely.
That's so great.
Thanks.
Bye, Steve.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye-bye, my friend.